Okay, this is the Space Cycles Assessment, Lunar Cycles, and Tide Unit Test Corrections. Make sure you guys dump everything on your test that we dump on ours in order to get your credit back. Number 1, the diagram shows where in the moon's orbit it will create different moon phases. Spring tides are strong tides, and neap tides are the weak tides. We know spring tides are strong, and we know that they occur during the full and new moon phases, because the sun, the moon, and the earth are all in a line and working together. The neap tides are the weak tides that occur during the first and third quarter, because the moon, the sun, and the earth are at right angles with each other and working against each other. Based on this information and the relative positions of the earth, the moon, and the sun shown in the diagram, which of the following accurately identifies which moon phases are visible when the spring or neap tides occur? Okay, letter A, spring tides are the first quarter and the last quarter. No, we already established the spring tides occur when the moon and the earth are in line with the sun, which only occurs during the new moon and the full moon. So those are going to be your spring tides. Your spring tides. So that cannot be your answer. B, state spring tides first quarter. No, we can already eliminate that. We don't have to go further. C, the spring tides are full and new moon. Okay, we already established that spring tides occur when they are in line. They're strongest then because they're working together. And neap tides are first quarter and last quarter. Yes, they are at right angles with each other, so they are going to be working against each other, which makes them the weaker tides. So that looks like a good answer. Let's just double check. Answer D, spring tides are last quarter. No, we already established that they are the full and the new moon, so C is our best answer.
Okay, number 2 says the diagram provided depicts tidal height related to 4 moon phases. Which points in the diagram could represent the heights of tides during the full moon and new moon? So I know that during my full moon and new moon, those are considered my spring tides, and my spring tides are going to be my highest high tides, because we do have the earth and sun, the moon and sun pulling at the same time. So highest highs, and where's all that water going? Well, it's coming from our low tide, so our lowest lows. So this is tidal height, so I'm looking for very high tides. So my high tides are going to be my W and my Y. These are my high highs. And then my low lows, I'm trying to find something down here. So these, and they happen to be the same. These are my low tides, low lows. And so that leaves us with W and Y. So this is probably our new moon. This is probably our full moon, meaning this would be right here our third quarter, our neap tides, if you would. And our other neap tide over here, which is our first quarter. All right. Number 3. Use the diagram below to answer the following questions. How many points on Earth, as indicated by the arrows, will be experiencing high tides? Well, we do know that high tides, we know that there are 2 high tides and 2 low tides a day. Every day. So that would mean if my moon is here, it doesn't even matter where our sun is. This is going to be a high tide, and this is going to be a high tide, so there's going to be 2 high tides.
Okay, number 4. The diagram below shows 4 moon phase observed during July. On which day would the next new moon occur? Well, here's the new moon for July, and we know there are about 29.5 days between each moon, from new moon to the next new moon. So the closest one to 29.5 days from July the 31st is going to be August the 29th. Number 5, the diagram below shows the sun, earth, and the moon as seen from a point in space from above Earth's north pole. The shaded areas represent darkness. Point X represents a location on Earth's surface, so right about there. Which phase of the moon will an observer at location X see when the sun, the earth, and the moon are in positions as shown in the diagram above? Assume there is no eclipse at the time. So we've got the sun right here, we've got the earth, and we've got the moon. The earth is in the middle, which means this must be a full moon phase. So it's kind of a trick question. It really doesn't matter where on Earth you're standing during When the sun, the moon, and the earth are in these positions, you're going to see a full moon, which looks just like this one.
Number 6, which of these will cause the greatest high tides? Okay, so greatest high tides, here I know that I'm looking for spring tides. So my spring tides are going to occur in my new moon and my full moon, which is when they're all in a straight line. So here's my sun, my earth, either my moon here or my moon here. So this is a new moon, so I like this one. Check. This one here. This is my first quarter, so then here's my full moon. This makes this a waxing gibbous. Here's my new moon right here. This makes this my first quarter. And here's my third quarter, which makes this one my waning crescent. So this is a neap tide. This is just a regular tide here. This one's a regular tide. So this is my nice spring tide.
Number 7, which of these would be the best model to use to study the cause of the moon's phase changes?
Okay, so first of all, the cause of the moon's phase changes is the fact that the sun reflects its light on the moon differently as it revolves around Earth, as the moon revolves around Earth, as the moon revolves around Earth.
Okay, so we're looking at something of the moon revolving around Earth. There's no moon over here at all, so this one is wrong. No moon. Here we've got C, stick on stars for stars. Well, that has nothing to do with this black paper. This does not change the paper for the moon at all, so there's nothing going on right there. Here we've got a light for the sun. Okay, I like this one. We've got an earth, good, and we've got a moon made of clay. So as this goes around, just like we did with our little volleyball, remember we were earth and our volleyball was the moon, and of course we had our thing for the sun. We were able to see the light shine on it differently. Obviously a photograph of the moon isn't going to change at all on its own. If it does, it's haunted. Okay, so B's the correct answer.
Okay, number 8. During which of these phases will the moon will the tides be the highest? We've already discussed high tides must be the spring tides. Spring tides are your strong tides, they're the higher highs and the lower lows. That's only going to occur when the sun, here's our sun, the earth, and the moon are in a line, which is either during the new moon or during your full moon. So here we have a quarter moon, that's not going to be our answer, a gibbous. Here we have a full moon, I like that one, and this is a crescent moon. So B is definitely going to be our answer. Number 9, some students use records from the U.S. Naval Observatory to make the table below of the percentage of moon that was visible on each night in January 2011. Based on these data, what part of the lunar cycle occurred between January 5th and January 7th? So we're looking at these dates right here. It looks like we're starting at about 1%. It goes to 3 and then to 8. So number 1, we know that a very small percentage of the moon is lit, and it is growing each night. So each night, the lit side grows. So our growing moon is going to definitely be our waxing moon, and when a small percentage, less than 50%, is lit, it is going to be a crescent moon. See, oh, there we go. It's a waxing crescent. Here we got a possible answer here. Waning. Waning means it is shrinking. The lit part is definitely getting bigger right there. Full moon, that's 100% lit, and new moon is 0% lit.
Number 10, the moon reflects different amounts of sunlight on the earth at different times. This reflected sunlight is commonly called moonlight. The graph below shows the intensity of moonlight at different times in a lunar cycle. So this
looking at this over here, this shows the intensity of light. This would be like 0. This would be, or this would be low, I guess we could say, and this would be high. So low light right here I'm looking at, so something that it would be a new moon. The highest it is, which is way up here, that looks like that's going to be a full moon. So that makes this one over here also another new moon. That tells me this side from new moon to full moon that this is going to be the waxing side. Over here, this tells me this is going to be the waning side. Okay, so waning, that means that my light is going to be on my left. Waxing would be on my right. So this is going to be a waxing crescent. This is going to be a waxing gibbous. So these two are automatically eliminated because they are waxing and we're on our waning side. Over here, this is going to be my waning, because my light is on the right, waning gibbous. I'm sorry, my light is on the left. And over here, this is going to be a waning crescent. So now I have to decide by looking at the graph which is better represented. And by looking at that, it looks like it's kind of right in the middle. So I would say that it's closer to the waning gibbous type third quarter type thing. This could be even a third quarter. Just depends on, it's right there on that cusp. So I would say the waning crescent would be right over here, way down, since it's just a little bit of a sliver. So I'm going to go with C, which is going to be waning crescent or third quarter. Number 11, use the graphic to answer the following question. Based on the model, at which location would the sun be drawn? So we know the very first step that we need to do on any of these is find the moon. I'm sorry, find the sun. So by looking at this, there is a clue. That clue is going to be the shadow and the light. So the shadow is on this side over here, so that means that it is lit up over here. We also know that the new moon is always going to be in between our sun and our earth, and this is the new moon, so the correct answer for this is going to be, which I wrote over right there, is going to be D, number 4.
Okay, last question, number 12. Use the calendar to answer the question. If the new moon occurs on the 9th of this month, okay, so here we have our new moon is on the 9th. On what day can you expect to see a full moon? Well, we know that there are about 2 weeks from a full moon to a new moon, because here you're going to go into your waxing crescent for 6 to 7 days, then you're going to go to your first quarter somewhere along here. And then we're going to continue on, and we're going to be waxing gibbous until we finally get to the new moon somewhere in that ballpark. So the 12th is not even close. That's going to be your waxing crescent. The 16th will probably be your first quarter. The 24th, that's pretty close to where your new moon is going to be. And then, of course, the 30th, that's definitely too far out. So C is your correct answer. Okay, so please make sure that you guys get all of the dumping done. That's extremely important. You must dump on every single question in order to get your credit back, regardless of how many questions you got wrong. You may need to do this on your own time or come in after school and use our computers. Thank you. Good luck. One more thing, guys. This is going to be due on Monday, March the 4th. You must have it turned in. You must have the corrections done on your original test. So when we give it back to you, please don't lose it. And let us know if you have any questions.